My name is Amanda Pham Haines, and I use she and they pronouns. And I started as the Anti-Displacement PDX Coalition Director in February, the end of February 2023. And it's been a really rewarding opportunity so far. I come into this work actually having just finished my law degree at Lewis and Clark Law School. And throughout law school, I did a lot of organizing among law students at my school, the other three schools, and actually nationally, because I was the president of the National Asian Pacific American Law Students Association, and then president of my law school and a few other organizations. And so I tried to use all of those as opportunities so that I could do a job like this one day, where I'm working with people from a lot of different backgrounds and who might have a lot of different goals in mind, but being able to do so in a way that kind of can still be productive and practical, but also push kind of the imagination forward in terms of what is possible in terms of like community building. So I actually started rock climbing recently, and so I do that indoors in Portland, but actually just went to Smith Rock for the first time and have learned to appreciate camping a lot as I've gotten older and being able to just disconnect for a few days. Yeah, I'm a pretty career-oriented person, so as far as like life goals, my goal is, to be effective wherever I am. The coolest thing about working for 480 PDX so far is that even though I work at Unite, every day I'm working with organizers and community organizations and just individuals across the state. I get that I don't think a lot of people get the chance to. And so I think it's been a real privilege because I get to see what works and what doesn't work, even just among nonprofits. That's been a really great part of it. But another great part has been being able to let people know that they're not alone. I think that really helps because it can keep people from feeling like they're in competition all of the time. It's bad. It's pretty bad. If I could say what, my opinion or speculation is that the biggest issue that I see just coming into it, that the way that we measure success of anti-displacement policies is not based on whether or not people are displaced. It's based on whether the property value of the area has been improved. That it doesn't matter whether it's an urban renewal area, a tax increment finance plan. The policies, at least so far in my experience, that part doesn't seem to matter so much, because I'm in rooms with people, at 9 a.m. saying, I don't have a home anymore, or I'm, fourth generation Portlander as a Black woman. Everyone else in my family, we were all here for that much time. Everybody's 2 hours away in any given direction. They're the last person here in their family, and that's not rare. It's extremely common that I meet people who are only, 35, who have already, their families have been moved 3 times in their lifetime. It's tough because I go straight from those meetings to meetings with the city that might also include, the developers that get the contracts. And they're like, yeah, here's success, here's this, here's that. And in my mind, if you're saying that this something is an anti-displacement policy, if anyone is displaced, that's not a success. I think that that's a hard part for people to kind of grasp sometimes, is that you can be a really good person and really well-intentioned, but if the structure and particularly the metrics that you have for how you determine whether something is a success or not, if those things aren't aligned with reality, then what you're doing is only going to continue that same cycle. So we keep having different policies that they're like, oh, let's try this policy, let's try this policy, but we haven't taken a step back to say, how can we actually measure community resilience? How can we actually measure whether these displacement policies are effective, both in a short and a long term? My vision in the short term, right, is that right now I'm still recruiting and being able to provide stipends to people who are part of community-based organizations in the area that focus on displacement of Indigenous, Black, people of color, renters, houseless folks. And so the short-term vision is to get those folks together, figure out what the common priorities are, and be able to amplify those messages to the highest degree. Because the way that I see my role is more as a steward of that space and creating the structure and foundation so that people can enter those spaces and think about, be radically able to reimagine what works and what doesn't work without constantly having to have like the pragmatic considerations overlying what they're doing. So my vision is to do what's necessary to support those organizations that are part of the coalition in that way, and then to be able to do that on a state level. And so just expanding, I think, county by county to places that have some momentum, that have organizations that are already set up to be able to, absorb another layer to their work. My vision too is to make it so that people are educated and empowered through that education, whether it's an individual or an organization. And so I really want this, AD-PDX to become a resource for people so that when they're talking about anti-displacement, when they want facts, when they want figures, that they're not just relying on, whatever county person who's had to do that work, and kind of start from there and make it so that people can make informed decisions when they are at community listening sessions or when they are at the ballot box.